The human envoy fleet moved slowly through the quiet star system. 3 small ships drifted near a wide ring of silver stations built by many alien species together. Soft lights moved across the stations like slow breathing. This place was meant for peace. No weapons were active. No shields were raised. Every species present believed this meeting would be calm. Captain Dion stood on the bridge of the lead human ship. He was tall and still, his hands resting behind his back. His face showed no fear, but his eyes watched every signal with care. Around him, human officers spoke in low voices. Screens showed alien ships of many shapes and colors. Some were smooth and bright. Others were sharp and dark. All of them were larger than the human ships. Many aliens had studied humans before this day. They believed humans were weak. Humanity had only just reached faster than light travel. Their ships were small. Their metal looked plain. Their signals were quiet. Compared to ancient empires in the galaxy, humans seemed like children stepping into a room full of giants. Ambassador Hannah Lai waited in the central meeting chamber aboard the station. She wore a simple uniform with no medals. Her dark hair was tied back neatly. She kept her hands open and visible, as human custom demanded in peace talks. Around her stood delegates from other species. Some had many eyes. Some had none. A few whispered to each other, their voices filled with doubt. The meeting began with calm words. Star maps were shared. Trade routes were discussed. Humans spoke slowly and clearly, choosing simple phrases so all translators could work well. Ambassador Hannah spoke of cooperation, of learning, and of peaceful growth. She said humans wished to join the galaxy, not rule it. Many aliens listened with polite interest. Others looked bored. A few looked amused. In a dark region far from the station, something else waited. The human Dreadnought silent oath floated without light, without sound, and without movement. It was massive, far larger than the envoy ships. Its surface bent sensors and light around it, making it nearly invisible. Inside, thousands of human crew members worked in silence. Admiral Sue Park stood alone on the command deck, staring at a blank screen that showed nothing to anyone else. The silent oath had been there long before the meeting began. It had arrived weeks earlier and slipped into deep stealth. No alien scanner had noticed it. This was not luck. This was design. Humanity had learned fear early in its history. Long before reaching the stars, humans learned that calm words did not always stop violence. So when first contact was planned, humans prepared for peace, but they also prepared for betrayal. Back at the station, the calm meeting continued. An alien delegate with a tall crystal body spoke next. The translator turned its tones into words. The alien questioned why humans brought only small ships. It asked if humanity truly understood the dangers of space. There was no threat in the voice, only doubt. Captain Day answered through the channel. He said humans believed trust must begin somewhere. He said bringing weapons into a peaceful place would send the wrong message. His voice was steady and respectful. Some aliens nodded. Others exchanged private signals. Then a quiet alert appeared on one human screen. A junior officer looked at it and felt his breath slow. The signal was faint, almost hidden by background noise. It was not coming from the station. It was coming from the edge of the system. He reported it to Captain Day without raising his voice. Captain Day listened, then turned slightly. His eyes met the sensor data. His posture did not change, but his mind moved fast. The signal matched patterns from old human simulations. It was not natural. It was not peaceful. He sent a coded message to Ambassador Hannah. The words were simple and calm, but the meaning was clear. Something unknown was nearby. Ambassador Hannah received the message while listening to another alien speak. She did not react. She did not change her expression. Years of training kept her calm. She continued the discussion, asking polite questions and giving calm answers. Around her, the aliens continued their talks, unaware of the quiet shift dot in the darkness. Admiral Sue received the same signal. His eyes narrowed slightly. He said nothing at first. He watched the data streams grow clearer. The hidden fleet was large. Many ships. Heavy weapons. No open signals. No request to join the meeting. This was not a misunderstanding. Admiral Sue gave silent orders. The silent oath adjusted its position by a fraction. Power flowed into systems that had slept for weeks. Still, no light escaped. No sound traveled back at the station. One alien suddenly paused. Its sensors had picked up a strange echo. It was gone a moment later, but the alien felt uneasy. It shared the data with others. The discussion slowed. Confusion spread, but no clear danger was seen. Captain Day watched the alien channels carefully. He could feel the balance shifting. Calm still filled the room, but it was thinner now. Like glass under pressure. Ambassador Hana gently suggested a short pause in talks, citing human custom. Some aliens agreed. Others resisted, not wanting to appear weak. The discussion became uneven. Then, at the edge of the system, space bent. A hostile fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Their ships were dark and sharp, built for war. They did not hide. They did not greet. They moved straight toward the station. Alarms began to sound across alien ships. Panic spread. The peaceful station had no defense plan for this. Many alien delegates argued at once. Some demanded protection. Others froze, unsure who should act. Captain Day stood tall as the situation changed around him. He ordered his ships into defensive positions, though he knew they were not enough. Ambassador Hana remained calm. She spoke clearly, asking all species to remain steady. Her voice cut through the noise, but fear was stronger. In the darkness, Admiral Sue watched the enemy fleet advance. He knew the moment had come. A silent oath had remained hidden to show trust, to show peace. But peace was now under threat. Admiral Sue placed his hand on the command panel. His voice was low and firm as he gave a single order. Break stealth. Far from the station, space itself seemed to tear as the human Dreadnought revealed its presence. Light bent back into place. Massive armor appeared where nothing had been before. Energy systems flared to life. Across the system, every sensor screamed. The calm of first contact was gone. Shock spread through the star system as the massive human warship appeared. Where empty space had been, now stood a moving wall of dark metal and glowing lines. The ship was larger than any vessel present. Its shape was simple and heavy, built with purpose, not beauty. Alien sensors struggled to understand it. Data flooded their systems faster than they could read. Silence followed the first wave of alarms. The hostile fleet slowed. Some of their ships shifted formation, uncertain. They had expected confusion and weakness. They had not expected this. On the bridge of the silent oath, Admiral Sue Park stood firm. His face was calm, but his mind was sharp. He watched the enemy ships on the main display. He knew their type. Their weapons were powerful, but careless. They relied on fear. Humans had learned long ago that fear could be used against those who trusted it too much. He ordered the ship forward. The Dreadnought moved with slow confidence. Every motion was controlled. Energy shields expanded, but stayed low and quiet. Weapon systems powered up, but did not fire. The message was clear. Humanity was ready, but not eager. At the station, chaos grew. Alien delegates shouted over one another. Some demanded the humans explain the hidden ship. Others accused humanity of deception. A few begged for protection. Ambassador Hana Lai raised her voice, not loud, but steady. She said humans had come in peace. She said the Dreadnought had stayed hidden to avoid fear. She said it was now visible only because danger had arrived. Not all believed her. Captain Dehan worked quickly. His small ships formed a thin defensive line around the station. It was not strong, but it was symbolic. He knew the real shield stood farther out. He opened a direct channel to the hostile fleet. He identified humanity and demanded they stop their advance. His words were clear and simple. He warned them that any attack would be answered. The hostile fleet responded with silence. Then one enemy ship fired. The weapon was fast and bright, aimed at the station. Before it could reach its target, a pulse of energy from the silent oath struck it. The shot vanished, torn apart in space. The enemy fleet hesitated. Admiral Su did not celebrate. He gave another order. Target only weapons. Avoid life support. Avoid the station. The Dreadnought fired again. Precise beams crossed space, striking enemy ships with perfect timing. Weapon systems went dark. Engines failed. Ships spun without control, but did not explode. The message was clear. Humans could destroy them, but chose not to. Alien observers watched in disbelief. Many had believed human technology was young and crude. Now they saw weapons that showed patience, restraint, and deep planning. This was not a rushed design. This was the work of a species that had prepared for war while hoping for peace. Inside the station, fear slowly shifted into awe. One alien leader asked Ambassador Hana how long humans had planned this. She answered honestly. She said humans planned for the worst because their history demanded it. She said trust did not mean blindness. The hostile fleet regrouped and attacked together. Dozens of weapons fired at once, lighting space with violent color. The silent oath absorbed the first wave with its shields. The force bent the shields inward, but they held. Admiral Su felt the impact through the deck. He remained steady. He ordered a slow advance. The Dreadnought moved forward through the fire. Each step closer broke the enemy's confidence. Their weapons grew wild. Their formations broke. Human fire answered with calm precision. More enemy ships were disabled. Captain Day coordinated evacuation routes for smaller alien vessels. He sent human pilots to guide damaged ships away from danger. Even under attack, humans helped those who moments ago doubted them. Ambassador Hana continued speaking across open channels. She urged the hostile fleet to stand down. She offered aid if they withdrew. Her voice carried strength. Without anger, the enemy fleet commander finally responded. The alien voice was filled with disbelief. It demanded to know why humans fought this way, why they did not destroy their enemies when they had the chance. Admiral Su answered personally. He said humans knew the cost of total war. He said victory meant nothing if it destroyed the future. He said this battle would end now. The Dreadnought fired one final shot. The beam passed between the enemy ships and struck empty space. The force warped the stars behind it. The display of power was unmistakable. The hostile fleet broke. Ships turned and fled into faster-than-light travel. Disabled vessels drifted, powerless and silent. The battle ended as quickly as it began. Quiet returned to the system. The station remained intact. Alien delegates slowly realized they were alive. On the bridge of the silent oath, Admiral Su allowed himself one breath of relief. He ordered all weapons to stand by. Captain Day lowered his defenses, but kept his ships in position. Ambassador Hana closed her eyes for a brief moment, then opened them again. There was much to explain. Across the system, every species understood one truth. Humanity was not weak, and first contact would never be calm again. The silence after the battle felt heavier than the fighting. Wrecked ships drifted slowly, their lights weak and uneven. Emergency signals echoed across open space. The peaceful station remained whole. But fear still lived inside its walls. Captain Dehan watched the drifting ships from his bridge. He ordered human crews to begin rescue operations. Small craft moved out, slow and careful, carrying medical teams and repair units. Some alien officers questioned this choice. The enemy had attacked them. They could return. Captain Day did not argue. He believed actions spoke louder than words. Human pilots approached damaged enemy vessels without weapons charged. They broadcast simple messages offering help. Some ships ignored them. Others accepted. A few threatened violence, but lacked power to act. Inside one disabled alien ship, fear ruled. The crew expected execution or capture. Instead, humans arrived with open hands and calm voices. They sealed hull breaches. They treated injuries. They shared water and heat. Confusion replaced fear. At the station, Ambassador Hanulai walked through the main chamber. Alien delegates watched her closely. Some stepped back. Others stepped forward. One alien leader asked why humans risked their lives for those who tried to destroy them. Ambassador Hana answered simply. She said humans believed survival meant more than winning battles. She said mercy built futures that fear never could. Not all understood her words, but none could ignore her actions. On the silent oath, Admiral Sue Park reviewed damage reports. The Dreadnought bore scars across its armor. Deep marks showed where enemy fire had struck with full force. The ship had held, but the cost was real. A junior officer asked if they should reveal more of their strength now. Admiral Sue shook his head. He said fear should never be the first lesson. Respect must come from choice, not shock. He ordered the ship to hold position, still visible, still silent. Alien sensors continued to scan the Dreadnought. The data they gathered disturbed them deeply. The ship was not rushed. It was not experimental. Every system showed long testing and careful improvement. This was not humanity's first great weapon. This was one of many steps taken over time. A rumor began to spread. If humans had one ship like this, how many more waited unseen? The hostile fleet had fled, but their story traveled faster than light. Across nearby systems, warnings spread. Humans were calm. Humans were polite. Humans were dangerous when forced. Back at the station, talks resumed, but the tone had changed. Alien delegates now listened carefully. Questions were asked with respect instead of doubt. They asked about human history. They asked about human wars. They asked why humans chose restraint when power was clear. Ambassador Hana spoke of Earth. She spoke of long struggles between nations. She spoke of loss and rebuilding. She said humans learned the hard way that survival without purpose led only to endless conflict. Captain Day joined the discussion remotely. He explained human military doctrine in simple terms. Prepare fully. Act only when needed. Stop when the threat ends. Some aliens found this frightening. Others found it comforting. In the wreckage field, a damaged enemy command ship sent a weak signal. It requested direct contact with the human Dreadnought. Admiral Sue accepted. The alien commander appeared on screen. Its form shook with exhaustion. Its voice carried shame and anger. It asked why humans hid such power during first contact. It accused humanity of dishonesty. Admiral Sue listened without interruption. When the alien finished, Admiral Sue answered calmly. He said humans hid power because power changed behavior. He said showing it too early would turn meetings into contests. He said trust could not grow under threat. The alien commander was silent. It then asked a quieter question. It asked what humans would do next. Admiral Sue said humans would stay. They would help the wounded. They would repair what was broken. Then they would leave unless asked to remain. The alien commander seemed confused. It had expected demands, territory, tribute, control. None. The channel closed. Hours passed. Rescue efforts continued. More alien crews accepted help. Word spread quickly. Humans treated everyone the same. Friend or enemy did not matter once weapons were silent. Inside the station, fear slowly faded. Conversations grew longer. Voices softened. A human science officer named Mira Kwan worked with alien engineers to stabilize damaged systems. She shared data freely. She asked questions instead of giving orders. Together, they repaired power lines and life support. Alien engineers noticed something strange. Human systems were designed to fail safely. Even when damaged, they protected life first. This was not common among many spacefaring species. The realization spread quietly. Human technology reflected human values. As the system stabilized, a formal message arrived from the Alien Council overseeing the station. They requested a private meeting with the human leadership. Ambassador Hana, Captain Day, and Admiral Su joined the channel. The Alien Council thanked humanity for preventing destruction. They admitted their mistake in underestimating humans. They asked a careful question. Were humans planning to expand their influence through force? Ambassador Hana answered without pause. She said humans sought connection, not control. She said strength existed to protect choice, not remove it. The council asked what humans wanted in return. Captain Day replied. He said humans wanted honest relations and clear warnings. He said peace worked best when everyone prepared for its failure. The council agreed. Across the system, ships slowly returned to normal operation. Lights brightened. Traffic resumed. The silent oath remained. Silent and watching. Admiral Su looked at the stars beyond the station. He knew this moment would shape the future. Humans had stepped onto the galactic stage not as victims, and not as conquerors, but as something harder to define. A species that could destroy, but chose not to, and the galaxy had noticed. Time moved forward again, slow and careful. The star system settled into a fragile calm. Repair lights flickered across damaged hulls. Rescue ships returned with survivors. The station's long halls filled with quiet voices instead of alarms. Captain Gaihan oversaw joint patrol routes with alien officers. He spoke little, listened much, and followed through on every promise. Human ships stayed visible, but non-threatening. Weapons remained powered down. Trust was being built through patience. Ambassador Hana Lee met with groups of alien delegates in small rooms, instead of grand halls. She chose close spaces so words could feel personal. She answered questions plainly. She admitted human fears as well as strengths. Some aliens were surprised that humans spoke openly about mistakes from their past. Admiral Su Park remained aboard the Silent Oath. The Dreadnought did not move. Its presence was a steady weight in the system, not pressing, not fading. It reminded everyone of what had happened and what could happen again. Alien analysts continued to study human behavior. They noticed patterns. Humans did not celebrate the battle. They did not claim victory. They did not demand apologies. Instead, they worked, repaired, and waited. This confused many species. Among the drifting wreckage, a group of former enemy officers requested safe passage to the station. They wished to surrender formally and speak. Captain Day approved the request. The officers arrived under escort. They were tired and wary. They expected judgment. Instead, they were given medical care and food. They were allowed to speak without interruption. Their leader admitted the truth. Their fleet had believed the station was unprotected. They had planned to seize control and force weaker species into agreement. Humans had not been part of their calculations. Ambassador Hana listened quietly. When the alien finished, she asked a single question. What would have happened if humans had not been there? The alien did not answer. The silence said, "Enough." Word of this meeting spread among the delegates. Many realized how close they had come to disaster. Fear turned inward. Relief followed Dot in engineering sections of the station. Miera Kwan continued her work. She and alien engineers compared systems and methods. She explained why human ships favored layered safety and manual overrides. Aliens explained their own designs, built for speed and dominance. Both sides learned. One alien engineer asked why humans designed ships that could still function when badly damaged. Myra answered simply. She said humans expected things to go wrong. She said survival mattered more than perfection. That answer stayed with them. As days passed, the Galactic Council sent observers. They arrived with caution and heavy escorts. Their leaders watched human interactions closely. They studied recordings of the battle. They reviewed data from the Silent Oath. The conclusions were unsettling. Humanity had prepared quietly for a long time, not just with weapons, but with plans, values, and limits. A formal council session was called. Ambassador Hana stood before a wide assembly of species. Captain Day stood beside her. Admiral Sue appeared by projection, his image calm and direct. The council asked direct questions. Why hide such power during first contact? Why intervene instead of letting local forces respond? Why show mercy instead of dominance? Ambassador Hannah answered the first. She said power changed how others listened. Humans wanted to be heard, not feared. Captain Day answered the second. He said humans believed watching injustice and doing nothing made them part of it. Admiral Sue answered the third. He said dominance ended conversations. Mercy began them. The chamber was quiet. The council debated among themselves. Some feared humans. Others respected them. A few worried that rejecting humanity now would push them toward isolation or future conflict. A vote was called. Humanity was offered provisional partnership status, not as rulers. Not as subordinates, but as defenders in times of crisis. Ambassador Hana accepted with measured words. She said humans would honor the trust placed in them. She also said humans would leave if that trust was ever abused. The statement surprised many. Power that offered limits was rare. After the session, the Silent Oath finally moved. The Dreadnought shifted its position slightly, away from the station. It reduced visible power output. The change was small, but symbolic. Fear eased. Captain Day ordered his ships to resume exploration paths. Human presence became part of normal traffic instead of a singular focus. Admiral Sue walked the long corridor of the Dreadnought, listening to the low hum of systems. He knew others like this ship existed, hidden and waiting across human space. They would remain unseen unless needed. That was the plan. A message arrived from the hostile fleet's home region. It was cautious and formal. It requested talks, no threats, no demands. Ambassador Hana read the message twice. She forwarded it to the council with a recommendation to accept. She believed this was how change truly began. As preparations started for wider diplomatic travel, alien media spread stories of the encounter. Some told it as a warning. Others told it as hope. They spoke of humans who arrived quietly, humans who stood firm, humans who could break fleets, but chose to build bridges instead. In the observation deck of the station, Ambassador Hana looked out at the stars. She thought of Earth, far away and unaware of how close history had come to breaking. Captain Day joined her. They stood in silence, watching ships move like slow thoughts across space. The galaxy had changed, not with fire, but with restraint, and everyone felt it. The weeks after the crisis passed slowly, but nothing returned to how it had been before. The star system no longer felt like a neutral meeting place. It had become a symbol. Ships arrived from distant regions, not for war, But to see where everything had changed, human crews adjusted to the attention with quiet discipline. They followed routines, avoided displays of force, and answered questions with patience. Captain Dehan made sure every human action matched every human word. Mistakes now would echo across the galaxy. Ambassador Hana Lai traveled between stations and council worlds. She spoke to leaders who had once ignored humanity. Now they listened carefully. She explained human limits as often as human strengths. She said humans were not guardians by right, only by choice. That choice mattered. On the edge of the system, the Silent Oath prepared to depart. Its mission was complete. Admiral Sue Park stood on the command deck, watching final data streams. The Dreadnought had become a story told across hundreds of worlds. Some feared it. Others admired it. Few understood it fully. Admiral Sue knew that was acceptable. Power did not need to be understood to be respected. Before departure, a final council message arrived. It invited humanity to take a permanent seat in defensive planning discussions. Not command, not control. Participation. Ambassador Hana accepted. She recorded a message to Earth. Her words were simple. She said first contact had nearly failed. She said peace had survived because humans prepared for its loss. She said the galaxy was not gentle, but it was not hopeless. The message traveled faster than light, carrying the weight of everything that had happened. Captain Day oversaw the last joint patrol. Alien ships now flew beside human ones without fear. Communication was smoother. Signals were shared openly. Trust had not fully formed, but suspicion had eased. One alien officer asked Captain Day if humans would always arrive with hidden strength. Captain Day answered honestly. He said humans would always prepare. He said whether that strength was hidden or shown would depend on how others chose to act. The answer spread quickly. Far from the station, the hostile fleet's worlds began internal debate. Their failed attack had changed their path. Leaders who once believed in force now faced questions they could not silence. They sent observers instead of fleets. Words instead of weapons. The change was small, but real. On the Silent Oath, systems powered down to stealth once more. Light faded from its hull. Energy output dropped. Space slowly accepted its absence. Admiral Sue gave the final order. Return to shadow. The Dreadnought vanished, leaving only memory behind. At the station, a small ceremony took place. No banners, no music, just words spoken clearly. The Council formally acknowledged humanity's role in preventing collapse. They did not call humans saviors. They called them partners. Ambassador Hana bowed slightly, following human custom. She reminded them that partnership required effort from all sides. As ships departed, alien media continued to tell the story. Some versions grew dramatic. Others stayed close to truth. But all agreed on one point. First contact had been calm until it was tested, and humanity had not broken. Back on Earth, people listened to the news with quiet disbelief. Humanity was no longer alone. It was no longer unseen. The stars felt closer, and heavier. Human leaders debated next steps. Expansion, defense, diplomacy. There were no easy answers. But there was clarity. They would not face the galaxy unprepared again. In the quiet of her quarters, Ambassador Hana finally rested. She thought of the fear in alien eyes and the relief that followed. She believed this was the real work of first contact. Not the meeting, not the battle. The choices after. Captain Day returned to patrol duty. He preferred action to ceremony. As his ship moved into open space, he felt something rare. Hope, not blind hope, measured hope. Across the galaxy, new policies were written. New alliances were discussed. New defenses were planned. Humanity was now part of those conversations. Not as a myth, not as a threat, but as a steady presence. Somewhere beyond known space, human ships waited in silence, unseen and patient. They would remain hidden until needed, just as before, because humans had learned a simple truth. Peace was not fragile because it was weak. It was fragile because it was valuable. And when tested, humanity would stand quietly, firmly together.